We got a VCR for Christmas. We played an old promotion tape. I couldn't believe how far we've come.
I'd never been here before. I'd never been into America, and I always used to think, who would ever race in America? But when I came here and I saw the competition, I remember thinking, man, this is where I want to be.
It's about the world over here.
You know that there are a couple of goals to do something unprecedented in motorsport.
There is Dale Earnhardt.
I just appreciate, I guess, that we got to do that, before he was taken away from us.
I think anybody that ever thought he'd be back in a race car then would have been dreaming.
This is where I wanted to be. I just hope that I can honor my role.
If we won with the all-female team, probably be the biggest news in racing.
Welcome to modern-day endurance racing. Some of the best racing in the world. It's a new year, but the beloved tradition, Cal, continues, and that is the racing season gets going here at the World Centre of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. The Rolex 24, as you well know, is a special event on its own, but this year it kicks off something really special, and that is the 50th anniversary of IMSA, North America's foremost sports car racing championship.
And it's great to really reflect on how IMSA has grown over those 50 years, Lee. It's been an incredible journey, legendary drivers competing along its path, but this year, when you look at the field that's assembled here at Daytona, I still think it promises to be IMSA's best year yet.
The Rolex 24 is undoubtedly the marquee event on the annual IMSA schedule, but the rest of the races we're looking forward to as well. As we say, welcome to Countdown to 2019, IMSA's 50th anniversary season.
When I was younger, I think that, IMSA represented, the coolest sports cars.
When I was growing up, there was the likes of the Porsches and the Jaguars. They were all competing, globally and at Le Mans, but they were also coming here to the Daytona 24 Hours. They also had, the British interest in the drivers, the Derek Bells. I was thinking, that is something that I'd love to be part of.
Sports cars in general, a lot of your Matchbox cars or anything like that were related, to sports car racing, whether it was the Porsches, the Ferraris, the Fords.
I was mesmerized by Dan Gurney, all-American racers. We're flying around the track, such a wide variety of sound, and that still exists today. And I think that's what makes this series really special, something I fell in love with at a young age.
IMSA draws together the best drivers from nearly every corner of the globe.
The reason this place is able to attract so many talents all over the world is the history, and also it's the beginning of the year.
So it attracts all kinds of different drivers from all over the world whose seasons haven't started yet.
It's not about only the American drivers. It's about the world over here.
Fernando Alonso, I'm from Spain.
England.
Colombia.
Australia.
Argentina.
Denmark.
Brazil.
Austria. Germany.
Portugal.
Finland.
New Zealand.
I'm from Japan.
The world's best, all fixed on a universally coveted prize, the Rolex watch.
Jag vill vinna Rolex 24.
Eu quero ganhar as 24 horas de Daytona. Je souhaite gagner la montre Rolex pour les 24 heures de Daytona.
Yet this one timeless prize represents the craftsmanship of so many styles of racing.
As a competitor, I want to put myself against the best in the world. On top of being just a motorsports fan, you see these guys on TV, you actually get to talk to them and meet them.
I watched Fernando and Alonso on TV, and now I'm here racing against him in Daytona, so that's an awesome feeling.
There are races that you dream, when you are a kid to participate, and eventually you find yourself there racing.
I mean, in New Zealand, we grew up watching IndyCar because obviously Scott Dixon, a bit of a national hero, and so when he ran Daytona, we always knew about it and could follow the race.
So cool to see Zanardi here. He's been a hero of mine, and he's an inspiration to so many people across the world from everything that he's accomplished.
To be here, surrounded by many friends, I'm very excited to be here.
The fact that this race brings in so many big names, I think speaks volumes for what it means to people. You look at Fernando Alonso, you look at guys like Kamui Kobayashi, you look at Alex Zanardi, all have had massive success in their careers. And at the end of the day, we're all here racing against them.
Before this Grand Series, IMSA and its signature Rolex 24, there was Le Mans.
Scarfiotti Bandini car lapping the field more than 100 miles ahead of its nearest rival.
Le Mans has always been the home of endurance racing. IMSA and American racing were clearly influenced by that.
Bill France Sr., the guy who started NASCAR, the guy who built this speedway, he had this real desire to make Daytona International Speedway have the name International really mean something.
A Goodyear blimps eye view of the Daytona International Raceway, capital of Bill France's stock car racing empire, now converted to a road racing course.
Daytona Continental, the legendary driver Dan Gurney, he won that first race. Daytona Continental, it expanded and eventually became a 24-hour event. And along with Sebring, you had some momentum almost immediately.
Sports car racing has also grown from amateur club racing to sophisticated, well-organized events that attract professional drivers from all over the world.
Late 60s, France Sr. got in touch with John Bishop, former SCCA executive. They hashed out the design of what would become the International Motorsports Association.
IMSA's credibility springs from bold drivers and astute engineers.
Luminaries of the driving world, Bruce McLaren, the perennial champion, will be driven by Pedro Rodriguez and Mario Andretti.
I think the way it should be planned is just to race the clock, more or less run a set pace.
In the 60s, Ford and Ferrari symbolized how endurance racing fused talent into team.
There's a camaraderie that was between us, you know. If you leave anything on the table, you can look at yourself in the mirror the next day. You know, it's just that type of thing. And you're the only one that knows if you left something on the table.
The 70s and 80s were dominated by Porsche and created stars like five-time Rolex winner Hurley Haywood.
The first time I came through that tunnel was 1969. I was completely awestruck. The banking was super cool. I fell instantly in love with Daytona.
Speeds can approach 200 on the banks and straightaway.
We drove really fragile race cars. If you had body contact, you were gonna, lose something. So you had to be super careful. Versus today, it's like 24 one-hour sprint races strung together. Back in the 70s and 80s, if you abused your car, you were going to break it.
As IMSA matured, its cars grew more robust. They had to withstand heightened close action. Ford Chip Ganassi Racing emerged as one of the leaders of the new millennium.
It's really been a great run for us, and it's really down to the people I have and the drivers. It's not me at all, believe me. It's a great management team and it's great drivers, and you'd be surprised what that'll accomplish in this sport.
Chip Ganassi takes the win!
What a performance!
Rather than distance itself from the IMSA field, Ganassi's level of success spurred a broadening of talent across the classes of IMSA teams. To have 24 hours like Daytona come down to seconds, it's a spectacle that ignites the IMSA 50th season. Through 24 hours or throughout a year, you don't want to miss a second.
And now, with us winning the Formula One, winning the 24-hour Le Mans, you know that there are a couple of goals to do something unprecedented